on agroforestry system. Agroforestry, this is a particularly agroforestry project को development कसरी गर्ने, project को सुरुवात कसरी गर्ने, कस्तो खालको projectलाई agroforestry projectले एउटा बढावा दिने अथवा कस्तो enhance गर्ने भन्ने बारेमा हामीले we are going to discuss on project development on agroforestry systems. So there are so many projects, so many agroforestry systems we have learned, we have gained, and evenly in the practice in the field. So which types of project is very favorable and very beneficial in particular situation, particular place? So we are going to discuss the project design. And so for the project development, project design is a very crucial component. So project design is the development of the project in agroforestry system. So we are going to discuss one by one. So before that, this is the micro content of our class, this class. So first of all, first 7.1, diagnostic methods and tools used in agroforestry systems. This is one. And second is, the first thing is diagnostic methods. So there are so many diagnostic methods, and the diagnostic is a problem-based solution in the diagnostics. So we have heard this terminology from medical science. So diagnostic methods and tools used in agroforestry systems. And second matter is ICRAF, International Center for Research in Agroforestry, is an international organization located in Kenya, in Africa. Kenya is a international platform of agroforestry research, and it has a design. It has developed a diagnostic method and design, so several method and design. And what is the ICRF? So diagnosis and design methods. So far we will discuss on two in two matters. So one by one. So first, what is the agroforestry design and diagnostic? So this is the introductory part, and it tells us, what is appropriate design, and what is design and diagnostics. What about design and diagnosis? What do you mean by design, agroforestry design, and agroforestry diagnostic? Agroforestry. Section to all sections. Agroforestry design and diagnostic. So what about the agroforestry design and diagnostic? This is the first introductory part. The agroforestry design. What is agroforestry design? How can you define agroforestry design? Agroforestry design involves deciding what will be produced, selecting the component of the system, and determining how they will be arranged. So agroforestry design means what agroforestry product will be produced. Now, what are the producing the main component of that agroforestry systems, and what are the arrangement of the agroforestry design, agroforestry component. And so these are the some basic things, basic matter, and agroforestry design, and tells us about these things. And these decisions also define how and when the component will be established and how they will be managed. Diagnostic means the process of identifying a disease, condition, or injury from its sign and symptoms, अथवा problems necessary is a very particular definition from the medical science. And so in agroforestry systems, what is unhealthy practices? What are the problem? What are the key problem, core problem, and persisting in the agroforestry systems? So health is state, physical exam and tests such as the blood test, imaging, in the medical science. But in agroforestry design, what are the problems exist? in agroforestry systems. So agroforestry design and diagnosis is a set of procedures for the diagnosis of land management problems and potential and design. So this is the particularly definition of agroforestry design and diagnosis. This is a set of procedures for the diagnosis of the land management problems and potential and this design of agroforestry solution. So what are the limitations of agroforestry system? So this is a background because we are saying, we are calling, there is a, agroforestry is a very, viable component, is a very dynamic component, is a very beneficial component. So far, there are some limitation, constraint, and related to agroforestry systems we have. So what are the limiting factors, the limitation, constraint, problems, and belonging to agroforestry systems? There are the several constraints we are facing in agroforestry systems. First limitation is the interference of the tree decreases the crop yield, which is lower than the monocropping. ट्री को क्रप इन्ट्रेक्सनले गर्दाखेरि यील्ड के हुन्छ कहिलेकाहीँ लोर भइरहेको हुन्छ र मोनोक्रपिङ लोर भइरहेको हुन्छ लो भइरहेको हुन्छ Second limitation is the tree canopy absorbs the maximum light and causes the competition for light. Obviously, there are several with a high and there are the multi-stra of the tree. And so, the tall भएको tree, the taller tree absorbs the maximum light and ground level को crop हो त्यसले कम लाइटहरू absorb गर्छ. Felling of the tree causes the damage to the arable crops. Competition of the moisture between the tree and arable crops is maximum when the trees have not been taproot systems. So taproot system is needed, is a deep taproot system is needed. Agroforestry system is a shallow भयो भने त्यहाँ arable maximum एउटा मेरो crop competition, moisture competition high हुन्छ. So some of the tree shrub as host and pest, host to pest that harms many crops. कहिलेकाहीँ केही क्रपहरूले होस्ट ग्रुपमा इन्सेक्ट पेस्टको होस्ट ग्रुपमा काम गरिन्छन् एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री कम्पोनेन्ट ट्रीहरूले. एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री सिस्टम रिक्वायर्स मोर फर इट्स म्यानेजमेन्ट. यस म्यानेजमेन्टमा पनि अरू कुराहरूले चाहिएको हुन्छ, अरू सिस्टमका कुराहरू, अरू म्यानेजमेन्टका कुराहरू, अरू एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री भेरी डिफिकल्ट स्पटी चाहिएको हुन्छ. The longer gestation period. यसको gestation period is longer हुन्छ भनेको just it provides the benefit for the longer times and period. हामीले 3-4 वर्ष ट्री स्पेसिसमा हामीले 4 वर्ष 5 वर्ष हैन 8 वर्षपछि हामीले केही एउटा त्यो कम्पोजिसनमा हामीले 6-7 वर्षपछि मात्र हामीले फाइदा सुरुवात गर्न सक्छौं. For tree delay the returns to the farmers. The farmers give more weightage to field crops compared to the tree crops. Certain tree species produce the chemical exudations which affect the growth of the agriculture crops. Chemical exudation means the chemical allelopathic chemicals provide some tree species and that affect to the agriculture crops. So what about the principles? Principles of agroforestry project to design. And in projects, there are the several principles, the agroforestry design, and there are main project. While you are going to, we are going to design a project, agroforestry project, and there are, three components, three principles, and mainly three principles we have to orient, we have to, think. First principle is principle of farmers' centeredness. Principle of farmer-centeredness. Each and every project, agroforestry project, should have based on the three principles of agroforestry design. The principle of farmer-centeredness. Principle of farmer-centeredness is the first principle of agroforestry design. Farmers like mukhya focus. We have to focus the farmers first. In design agroforestry project and program, but the goals and aspiration of the farming family first. And the main motivations are to help them meet their needs for food and incomes and to protect the fertility and productivity of their land. So we are when we are going to establish agroforestry project, so we focus on the farmers only. Farmers keep the first. And second principle is principle of aptness to place people and purpose. हामीले जहिले पनि के भन्छ भने the people, place and purpose लाई हामीले जहिले पनि आत्मसात गर्ने हो कि designing agroforestry project and programs. Remember that one size fits all. So does not apply. The all agroforestry system need not to customize. They need to be customized to local conditions. So it should be customized, and because there is a local situation is differ one place to place and one place to another place, the next place. The principle of aptness is about delivering one these goals. This requires careful consideration of the specific characteristics of the place, people, and purpose. What is the place? What will be the place of where will be going to our project, and for whom and कसलाई गइरहेछ, अनि the people first identify, place identify, and the place, and what are the need and requirement of those people. So this is place, people, and purpose. Principle of aptness. यो प्रिन्सिपललाई हामीले पहिला यसलाई पनि शिरोधार्य गर्नुपर्छ. द सेकेन्ड एन्ड थर्ड प्रिन्सिपल इज प्रिन्सिपल अफ सिनर्जी. हामीले जहिले पनि एउटा सिनर्जीलाई सबैको कुराहरूलाई एउटा सिनर्जेस्टिक हुनु पर्यो, सिनर्जीलाई राख्ने हो, सबै समन्वयात्मक हामीले विधिलाई अपनाउनु. डिजाइनिङ एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री प्रोजेक्ट्स एन्ड प्रोग्राम harness the full potential of agroforestry by ensuring that trees, crop, and livestock interact mutually beneficial ways that sustain multiple ecosystem services. So system should be developed in such a way that and tree, crop, and livestock is component. Each component, one component matches to a next component, and the matching, the situation will be beneficial. So the matching, each and matching and interaction between the two component and among the three components will be very beneficial. So synergistic effect is will be seen in agroforestry project design. So it should be necessary. It should be kept. Principle of synergy. Though there are the three main principles of agroforestry project design. Next, diagnostic tools and techniques used in agroforestry research. There are the many diagnostic methods agroforestry design. In agroforestry design research, agroforestry is a complex discipline, requires multidisciplinary tools and techniques to know its complexity and then focus on a specific role. Several methodology have been developed for holistic evaluation and analysis of the land use system. Basically, there are the 5 techniques frequently used to tackle the complex natural resource management issues of agroforestry design systems. Of 5 tools mentioned below, that there are the 3 practices in Nepal. There's the yellow line, RRA, PRA, and design diagnosis D&D. These methods are used massively in Nepal, but first practice is farming, and second is Agro-ecosystem Analysis. This system are AFRS, Agroforestry Ecosystem Analysis, AEA, Rapid Rural Appraisal, RRA, Participated Rural Appraisal, PRA, Diagnosis and Design, D&D. These are the 5 agroforestry design, agroforestry tools, techniques, and for resource in the agroforestry project. So first, farming system research. What about the farming system research? Focusing on resource poor farmers, farming of the farm management practices help improve technology, transform and release agricultural development. The silent characteristics of farming system research are it in applied problem solving. यो खास गरी problem solving मा धेरै problem solving approach मा काम गर्छ, and conducted by multidisciplinary teams with a degree of farmers participation. Second, characteristics assessment of the scope of blame, potential impact of technology change within the farming system framework. Third, identification of homogeneous groups is समानान्तर एक किसिमको समान किसिमका character भएका ग्रुपहरूमा usually resource poor farmers within specific agroclimatic zones as client for research. Fourth characteristic, dynamic interactive processing in which 1 year's trial results generate the hypothesis of the next trial. So there are the four main characteristics. The four research category usually fall under these systems. They are the basic, strategic, adaptive, applied. These are the some four research categories. Okay. So advantage analysis of the secondary data and exploratory survey, and second advantage formal survey and formal farmers monitoring laboratory tests that it does on laboratory tests and direct observation in farm trials पनि हुन्छ रिसर्चमा. So limitation के छ भने of limitation in farming systems research, the problem in multidisciplinary collaboration, especially in interaction between generally a holistic view of the farming system, has led to the collection of the huge unwieldy data sets. Third, researchers dominate the design and content, conduct and evaluation of non-farm trials. So these are some limitations of farming systems. Now, secondly, agro-ecosystem analysis. This system was developed by Gordon Convey and researchers working in Konkan University in Thailand. Thailand Konkan University developed in 1980s. The agroecological analysis is often used in diagnostic or planning stage of program development. This actually employs rapid rural appraisal methodology. RRA methods follow in planning research activities. In agro-ecosystems may be defined as ecological system defined by human beings to produce food, fiber, and other agriculture products. र यसको खास गरेर यो सिस्टमले केही कुराहरू इन्भल्भ गर्छ, जस्तै पार्टिसिपेन्ट डिफाइन अब्जेक्टिभ अफ एनालाइसिस, एउटा अब्जेक्टिभलाई डिफाइन गर्छ, र अर्को कुरोहरू रिलेभेन्ट सिस्टम टु बी इन्भेस्टिगेटेड, देयर बाउन्ड्रिज एन्ड हायरार्की रेलिभेन्ट त्यो सिस्टमलाई पनि अपनाउँछ, र अर्को प्याटर्न एनालाइसिस कन्डक्टेड बाई interdisciplinary team. There are the several disciplinary teams, multidisciplinary teams, and this multidisciplinary team को यसलाई एडप्ट गर्छ र आउटकम सिरिज अफ की क्वेशन्स फर फ्युचर रिसर्च एन्ड गाइडलाइन फर डेभलपमेन्ट यो कुरालाई उसले आत्मसात गर्छ. र यसको एडभान्टेज भनेको प्रोडक्टिभिटीलाई यसले फोकस गर्छ. द नेट इन्क्रिमेन्ट इन भ्यालु प्रोडक्ट पर युनिट एरिया रिसोर्स, अनि खास गरेर एग्रो इकोलोजिकल जोनमा जस्तो तराईमा, पहाडमा अथवा हिमालमा भयो भने कुन एग्रो माइक्रो क्लाइमेटमा भएको एग्रो इकोलोजिकल जोनमा खास गरेर यसको प्रोडक्टिभिटी कति छ भन्ने कुराहरू यसले ख्याल राख्छ. स्टेबिलिटी, the degree with which productivity remains constant despite the fluctuation in environmental variables such as the climate and economic conditions such as market. And sustainability लाई बढी ख्याल गर्छ, त्यो उनीहरूले यसको sustainability, the ability of the system to maintain its productivity when subject to stress, to disturbance when difficult to measure. And equity लाई यसले पनि ख्याल गर्छ. अर्को इक्विटी, the measures of how evenly productive of the ecosystem is distributed among the main beneficiaries. यसले इक्विटी भन्ने बित्तिकै हामीले त्यहाँको जनतालाई, त्यहाँको कुनै पिपुलहरूलाई केही प्रोभाइड गर्दाखेरि त्यहाँ इक्विली डिस्ट्रिब्युट भएको छ कि छैन, सबैले समान रूपले यसको पहुँच उनीहरूको सबै समान रूपले न्यायोचित ढङ्गले पाएको छ कि छैन, यसको इक्विटीको बारेमा पनि उसले ध्यान दिन्छ. र लिमिटेसन, इट हैज नट स्कोप अफ सिस्टम एनालाइसिस एन्ड इट इज यसको सिस्टम एनालाइसिसको एउटा यसको सिस्टम भनेको ल्याकिङ छ, and is useful at the research and development planning too. It is also some limitation. These include extractive nature of the exercise. The researchers gather information from leisure in a non-participator manner. सो हामीले नन पार्टिसिपेटर जो पार्टिसिपेसन नभएको पनि धेरै इन्फर्मेसनहरू दिनुपर्ने एक्सट्र्याक्टिभ नेचर अफ एक्सर्साइज हुन्छ अफन द ब्लेजर इज सिम्पली भ्युड एन्ड इन्फर्मेन्ट rather than active participant in the exercise. Less time available for the analysis, the relatively short time required to conduct the analysis can sometimes result in superficial data collection and superficial data collection. कहिलेकाहीँ यो यसको सिस्टमलाई के हुन्छ सर्ट टाइम इभ्यालुएसन हुन्छ यसले गर्दाखेरि डाटाहरू केही सुपरफिसियल आउन सक्ने सम्भावना हुन्छ अर्को भनेको ऱ्यापिड रुरल एप्राइजल आरआरए सिम्पली इज सर्टली के भन्छ भने यसलाई आरआरए भनेर भन्छौँ यो नेपालमा पनि युज गरेको पाइन्छ This technique was developed in the early 1980s to create a investigate to improve data gathering and natural resource management programs. International Institute of Environment Development in London and the University of in Thailand and Sussex in the UK and other several information international institutes working in agriculture research have developed the RRA appraisal methodology during the 1980s. The RRA differs from the traditional survey approaches in number of ways. It allows a number of technical specialists to introduce different perspectives in solving particular problems. It's a number of technical expertise or चाहिए एउटा छ र अर्को नै it allows के भन्छ भने redefinition of the research priority based on the information from the different fields. डिफरेन्ट रिसर्च प्रायोरिटी कुनमा फोकस गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरूमा यसले बढी फोकस गर्छ र यसले खोज तलास गर्छ इट अटेम्प्ट्स टु क्रिएट अ डायलोग बिट्विन द क्लाइन्ट एन्ड रिसर्च एन्ड मोस्ट PRRA methods are short term and provide a rapid qualitative and understanding of the particular problem. So the quality of the PRRA is dependent on the analytical capability of them. The advantage and disadvantage mapping and the modeling to make thematic maps of resource use, analysis of the aerial photographs, and transects walks, विभिन्न walkहरूबाट यिनीहरूको लिन्छ it's a timelines, chronological event, trend analysis, seasonal diagram of विभिन्न मेथडहरू प्रयोग गर्छ यसले climate, labor, food, and process livelihood analysis, ranking exercise, case studies, checklist, simple questionnaire, and analysis and report writing. यो methodology के सब methodologyहरू यसले यो technically अपनाउँछ research methodology अपनाउँछ. Limitation of RRA chambers and overlooking the people's knowledge and understanding of the problem. कहिलेकाहीँ के हुन्छ भने सबै त्यहाँको पिपलहरूको हामीले खोज तलास गर्न सकिन्छ छिटो गरिने हुनाले यसले ओभरलुकिङ गर्ने सम्भावना अथवा अभोइडिङ केही कुराहरूको एकदम मेजर कुराहरू अभोइडिङ हुने चान्सेस बढी हुन्छ. फोकसिङ अन आउटसाइडर्स extraction the information from pleasure or the series of the exercise or this interview. Outsiderको हामी बढी फोकस गर्ने गर्छ यसले. The data remains with the researcher and is not shared with the village. र हाम्रो भिलेजलाई हामी दिदैनौँ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अलिकति त्यो शेयर हुँदैन. Outcome of RRA exercise is usually used for the plan external interventions such as the project or research study. यो अरू खालको एक्सटर्नल इन्टरभेन्सनको लागि यसले बढी युज गर्छ. Next fourth is participated rural appraisal. यसलाई shortly PRA भनेर भन्छौँ. This is massively used in Nepalese context. This approach emerged in late 90s and it's based on the further refinement and modification of EEA, the agroecological analysis, and RRA, rapid rural appraisal techniques. And particularly, rural appraisal is a tool that helps target group and community, and through the exercise in the field research, one of the essential features of the tools is that it empowers the community to make their appropriate demand on development agencies and institutions. And particularly, key focus गर्छ भने this particularly एउटा कम्युनिटीलाई पनि itself यसलाई मालिक बनाउन उसले आफै एक्सरसाइज गर्न दिन्छ. यसका की फिचर बिल्डिङ अन ब्लेजर नलेज एन्ड क्यापेबिलिटिज. यसको बिल्डिङलाई कुनै नलेज एउटा क्यापेबिलिटी उसले क्यापासिटीहरू इन्हान्स गर्छ. सेकेन्ड रिल्याक्स सपोर्ट उनीहरूको सपोर्टमा एकदम बिस्तारै गर्छ उनीहरूलाई उनीहरूकै पार्टिसिपेसनले गर्छ रिल्याक्स सपोर्ट हुन्छ. थर्ड इज अ डायग्रामिक एन्ड भिजुअल सेयरिङ हुन्छ. कतिपय कुराहरूमा डायग्राम मोडेलहरू म्यापहरू विभिन्न खालको बनाएर उनीहरूलाई भिजुअल खालको उनीहरूलाई दिने भिजुअल कुराको एक्सरसाइज गर्ने कुराहरू गर्छ the sequence going through the series of their tools, maps, transits, metrics, ranking allows local people to see the interaction between the different subsystems, the village, and increases their interest. त्यो विभिन्न खालको केही कुराहरूलाई एकपछि अर्को रिलेभेन्ट मेटेरियलहरू दिएर सिक्वेन्सिङ कामहरू पनि गर्छ द ट्रेडिङ एन्ड रिओरिएन्टेसन फर आउटसाइडर्स अनि जे PRA trading, just that is simple and can be so profound effect on the PRA, PGA researcher in terms of their behavioral outlook and outwards blazer and learning from the local peoples. And the local people like पनि हामीले ट्रेडिङ दिने ओरिएन्टेसन गर्ने कामहरू पनि यसले गर्छ. And advantage, so PRA has used in 4 major types of participatory appraisal and planning. हामीले participatory appraisal and planning मा काम गर्छ, participatory implementation, monitoring, evaluation the program मा काम गर्छ, अहिले topics investigation मा such as the natural resource management, food insecurity, health, यो टपिक्सहरुमा पनि यसले बढी फोकस गर्छ र ट्रेडिङ एन्ड ओरिएन्टेसन टु आउटसाइडर एन्ड ब्लेजर, त्यहाँको ब्लेजर कन्सर्निङ ब्लेजर र आउटसाइडर ब्लेजरहरुलाई पनि त्यहाँ ट्रेडिङ दिने ओरिएन्टेसनहरु काम दिने कामहरु पनि गर्छ. त्यो हुनाले यसको फाइदाहरु यिनीहरु छ. केही लिमिटेसन छ. It has also some limitations. Superficial data collection general based on the small group. हामीले small sample, हामीले sample size हामीले सानो गर्ने बित्तिकै हामीले के हुन्छ यसको अब हामीले अलिकति छिटो गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. त्यो हुनाले sample size, if a sample size is small, then we'll collect a very superficial data. It might be a superficial data, not it's a generalized data and not in a specific data. The failure to involve the member of the community and member of the community ma involve हुँदा पनि यो धेरै कुराहरू त्यो त्यहाँको स्थानीयसँग धेरैसम्म घुलमिल गर्न सक्ने मेम्बर हुने कुराहरू पनि त्योसँग नजिक हुने कुराहरू पनि रहन्न. Overlooking the invisible, lecturing instead of the learning and listening. हैन त्यहाँको हेर्ने कुराहरू त्यो कहिलेकाहीँ त्यहाँ ओभरलुकिङ भइदिए हुन्छ. Imposing external ideas and values without realizing, and lastly, raising the expectation in the community where the PRA is conducted regarding the follow-up activities and investment. So next, very important is that this is the overall, overall techniques and tools up to 4, overall tools and techniques of the, basically non-used and very as a non-used name, very and sometimes used and very misused these techniques, but now the ICRAF, International Center for Research in Agroforestry Systems, Agroforestry, ICRAF developed the diagnosis and design techniques. This very, very important methods. These very important methods and developed by ICRAF's diagnosis and design methods. So what is the diagnosis and design? Certainly the D&D methods. What is the D&D methods? Diagnostic and design methods is methodology for the diagnosis of land management problems and design of agroforestry solution. This method was developed by John Renti and colleagues at ICRAF Nairobi during the early to mid-1980s to assist agroforestry research and development field workers to plan and implement effective research and development projects. And your development research project like यसको एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री कृषि वनको अनुसन्धान र यसको विकास गर्ने हेतुले 1980 मा यो नैरोबीमा केन्यामा जोन रेन्टीले यो डेभलप गरेको मेथड हो. It is a methodology for the diagnosis of the land management problem and the design of agroforestry solution, and it is intended to assist agroforestry researchers and development field workers to plan and implement effective agroforestry intervention. It gives a special focus on agroforestry-related constraint and opportunity within the existing land use systems and highlights agroforestry potential that might be overlooked by other methodologies. भनेपछि जो हामीले चारवटा मेथोलोजीको हामी अघि कुरा गऱ्यौँ त्यो चारवटा मेथोलोजी ओभरलुक गरेका कुराहरूलाई यसले खोतल्छ एन्ड एक्जिस्टिङ पर्टिकुलर इट फोकस अन पर्टिकुलर what are the constraints, what are the opportunity within the existing land use systems, and it highlights what are the potentiality of agroforestry system in particular place, particular agroecological zone. Most farming research extension practitioners, the trees within the farming system tend to be visible. And I should continue. What are the objectives of how agroforestry systems? So main objective of agroforestry system is to optimize production and economic return for unit area, especially rural community. There are the key features in agroforestry research design. Agroforestry research design ma khas gari particularly D&D ma there are the three methods objective also. First is research design in any agroforestry systems be based on the multidisciplinary land use diagnosis. Multi-use diagnosis multidisciplinary means the team is composed of different expertise. Multidisciplinary भनेको एउटा टिम हुन्छ त्यो टिम रिसर्च टिम हुन्छ त्यो टिम रिसर्च टिम एउटा एक्सपर्टिजको मात्र त्यहाँ सोसियोलोजिस्ट पनि हुनु पर्यो हर्टिकल्चरिस्ट पनि हुनु पर्यो हैन एन्ड it may be and then फरेस्टर पनि हुनु पर्यो हैन एग्रिकल्चरिस्ट पनि हुनु पर्यो एक्सटेन्सनिस्ट पनि हुनु पर्यो विभिन्न खालको मल्टिडिसिप्लिनरी टिम it has and it should has multidisciplinary team and it should be based on the socioeconomic issues because they play a part in identifying research needs and designing appropriate methods. It must be based on this best D is missing. It must based on production need at both macro and micro levels to increase and stabilize the income of farmers. यो macro and micro level मा यो production मा यसले बढी focus गरेको हुनु पर्यो हुनाले बढी key feature of D&D are there are the key features. D&D is a methodology that has been developed especially for agroforestry application with the emphasis on comprehensive diagnosis of the problem, followed by design and implementation of the appropriate intervention to solve the diagnosed problem. It prominent features, the permanent features, the key features, that means the key features, the major features are, there are three major features. This is a flexibility. The main features of D&D. D&D is a discovery procedures which can be adapted to fit the needs and issues of the wide variety of the land users. So it is used very a range of land users. So it's that there is a flexibility. And second is speed. D&D has been designed to allow for a rapid appraisal. Rapid हामीले छिटो काम गर्ने हिसाबले पनि हामीले प्रयोग गरिन्छ rapid appraisal application at the planning stage of the project with in-depth analysis occurring due to the project implementation. And thirdly is a repetition. D&D is an open-ended learning process since initially designs can almost always be improved. The D&D process need not in until further improvement are no longer necessary. So केही हामी चाहिदैन भने त्यसलाई हामीले it should be improved गरिन्छ र एउटा त्यहाँ फर्दर हामीले चाहिदैन भने त्यसलाई allow पनि गरिदैन र यसलाई improve खालको repetition एउटा हामीले के गर्छ भने फर्दर चाहिन्छ भने त्यसलाई युज गर्ने चाहिदैन भने यसलाई युज गरिदैन जसमा repetition उलाई पनि यसलाई ओपन इन्डेड लर्निङ प्रोसेस हो यो रिपिटेसन मा यसले ओपनली यसले के गर्छ भने यसले थिंक गर्छ यसले रियुज गर्ने या नगर्ने भन्ने कुरामा these are the key feature of D&D. And there is a types of D&D and level of D&D. What types? What are the level of D&D? Athava, what are the types of program in D&D? There are the two types of diagnosis and design program. One is macro and the next one is micro. Depending on the objectives, they are used in identifying the problem and diagnosing, designing the solution. And there are two types the two level of D&D, and one is macro D&D, and second is micro D&D. The macro D&D is a rapid appraisal technique that relies heavily on secondary data that can be varied with a quick survey. It is large-scale analysis of ecozone with a country or a group of countries. Macro D&D is important for deciding a national agroforestry research and extension agenda at the national levels. Whereas micro D&D describe and analyze the constraint of the given land use system and then design and evaluate the agroforestry technology. Micro D&D involves a detailed analysis of household and production system in the loss and the loss. The level of agriculture, the diagnosis systems, and it gives guidelines for research that will be address the constraint of the prioritized loss. The descriptive analysis constraint. And agroforestry research program normally begin with the macro and D&D exercise covering an entire ecological zone, macro zone, and macro levels. So detail in macro D&D. So it consists of rapid appraisal based on the primarily on secondary information, and a macro and macro D&D include the assessment of the existing land use systems. It's a loss, the loss macro land use systems and constant agricultural policies and institutional arrangement. The current agroforestry practices and the potential for the improving productivity and sustainability through the agroforestry intervention. The study zone is a pro-design chosen for important at the national level. Its selection is usually based on the following factors: contribution of the food production at the national level, economy, population area, urgency of the problem on importance of unexploited potential, level of agriculture development, and land use intensifications. So it gives into these factors. Typically, the D&D teams comprises 5 to 10 specialists. Micro level, macro level, के हुन्छ भने 5 देखि 10 स्पेसिस्टहरु यसले राखेको हुन्छ. The 10 to 5 to 10 specialists from different fields. It may be from horticultural field, from agriculture field, extension field, agronomical field, from the forest field, ecological field, botanical field, विभिन्न फिल्डबाट 5 to 10 specialists हुनु पर्यो from the biological, biophysical and sociological field, including social science, agronomy, horticulture, animal science, forestry, agriculture, economics, and rural sociology and anthropology. विभिन्न फिल्डबाट 5 to 10 specialists हुनु पर्छ. All the team members should have experience in both research and extension work. All the team members should have they have a good experience हुनु पर्यो. Macro D&D is usually completed in about 3 months. 3 महिनामा सकिन्छ यो. This includes 2 and 3 ways to plan the study and orient the team. 2 and 3 weeks to review the analysis and the synthesis of the secondary information, 2 and 3 weeks to conduct the field work, and 4 to 6 weeks to analyze the information and prepare the report. यो work plan हुन्छ. यो work plan मा हामी विभिन्न कामको लागि विभिन्न टाइमहरु छुटाएको हुन्छ. The macro and D&D includes the detailed review of past and present agroforestry research and development programs. The fieldwork component of macro D&D normally consists of the visual appraisal of the study zone, and then team sometimes traveling many kilometers in a few days in order to identify the extent, pattern, and problem of existing land use systems. And team members interviews researcher and extension worker and may conduct a few informal interviews within local land users. I mean, team member ले interview लिन्छ र के गर्छ एउटा few informal के interviewहरु लिन्छ हैन त्यही क्वेशनरहरु पनि बनाएको हुन्छ तर informal interviewहरु बढी फोकस गर्छ and checklist बनाउँछ. And macro D&D is usually followed by a national research regional workshop to analyze the common problem and differential land use system loss in the zone to identify the agroforestry technologies with potential relevance for the zone as a whole, to identify the specific land use systems as the focus for the research and development efforts, and to establish preliminary research requirement. Second भनेको माइक्रो डिएनडी, and in detail हामीले अलिकति डिटेल अघि हामीले सर्टली भन्यौँ, अहिले डिटेलमा माइक्रो डिएनडी भनेको के हो, व्हाट इज माइक्रो डिएनडी? And micro DND is a land use system defined as a distinct combination of crops, livestock, tree, and other food production component. The primary focus of the analysis is the management unit that makes a decision and says resources, objective, labor, and product. Analysis of the land use systems comprises all the characteristics that affect in management and performance. These characteristics include the following: the location, केही यसको लोकेसन एउटा प्रमुख फ्याक्टर हो, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिभ एन्ड पोलिटिकल डिभिजनहरू कतातिर, जोग्राफिकल रिजनहरू कहाँ छ, हामीले भने जस्तै अनि जोन हैन, डिस्ट्रिक्टहरूको अनि लोकल म्युनिसिपालिटीहरू, रुरल म्युनिसिपालिटीको केही डिभिजन डिमार्केसनहरूलाई राख्छ, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिभ डिमार्केसन, इन्भाइरोमेन्टल क्यारेक्टरिस्टिक्सले राख्छ, आत्मसात गर्छ। अहिले फोकस एन्ड सोसियो इकोनोमिक क्यारेक्टरिस्टिक्स, ल्यान्ड युज सिस्टम्स यसले फोकस गर्छ, रिसोर्स सपोर्टिङ सर्भिसहरू के छ यसले कोस्लास गर्छ, अनि डेभलपमेन्ट एक्टिभिटीज एन्ड पोलिसिजहरू के छ यसले डायग्नोसिस गर्छ। र an important aspect of micro and D&D is analysis of the needs, objective and constant of the land use. यसले मुख्य कुरो यसले what are the needs, what are the very required material required matters for the particular peoples, and what are the objectives and constraint of land users, त्यहाँको बासिन्दाहरूको के छ भन्ने कुराहरू बुझ्छ। The first step, this stage is based on the interview and field survey. यो स्टेपलाई, यो कुराहरूलाई हामीले के गर्छ, यो माइक्रो लेभलमा उसले इन्टरभ्यू र फिल्ड सर्वे गरेर लिन्छ। One major aspect of the micro and D&D is the analysis of the existing knowledge and agroforestry practices. What are the existing knowledge and practices of on agroforestry systems, and in particular region, particular area, and it finds out, then the what tree or shrubs are being used with that management policies, with that objectives, and obtaining the what yields. Such analysis helps in defining strategy for working with the target land users. यो एनालाइसिसले के गर्छ भने lastly, ultimately it helps in developing the strategy, developing the target of particular agroforestry systems. As with macro, D&D, the research team for macro D&D comprises 5 and 10 biophysical and social scientists. Again, the exercise is usually completed in about 3 months. हामीले म्याक्रोमा भने जस्तै यसमा पनि 3 मन्थमा लिन्छ र 5 to 10 को मल्टिडिसिप्लिनरी टिमहरू नै तयार गरिन्छ, त्यो तयार नै त्यहाँ अनुसन्धान हुन्छ। However, for the macro D&D, the field work component entails more contact with the farmers. यसले फार्मरसँग नै बढी कन्ट्याक्ट राख्छ र often including a formal survey of 50 to 100 individual with the same structure questionnaire. केही 50 देखि 100 वटा इन्डिभिजुअल फार्मर्सहरूलाई कन्ट्याक्ट गर्ने भनेर एउटा स्ट्रक्चर क्वेसनहरुमा अथवा सेमी स्ट्रक्चर क्वेसनहरुमा यसले काम गर्छ। त्यसो ओपन इन्डेड क्वेसनहरु, केही सेमी स्ट्रक्चर क्वेसनहरु, केही चेकलिस्ट बना को D&D पर्पस हुनु पर्यो, कहाँ गर्ने के गर्ने भनेको land use system is defined as distinctive combination of 3 interrelated factors. The land use resources exploited the particular technology and to satisfy the production objective of a particular type of land use. So purpose हुनु पर्यो। Third, the diagnosis lead to specification for interventions. The end product of the diagnostic resource procedures is a set of functional specification, what the system need, how these needs can best satisfied, the कस्तो हुनु पर्यो भन्ने कुराहरु एउटा स्पेसिफिकेसन पनि त्यसले इन्टरभेन्सनमा स्पेसिफिकिङ यसले फोकस गर्छ। स्पेसिफिकेसन सजेस्ट क्यान्डिडेट टेक्नोलोजी, हैन, टेक्नोलोजीलाई यसले बढी इन्हान्स गर्छ, टेक्नोलोजी पनि बढी फोकस गर्छ। टेक्नोलोजी स्पेसिफिकेसन कम्प्लिट द डिजाइन, and competitionमा टेक्नोलोजी पनि super राम्रो हुनु पर्यो. It should be a super. The actual choice of the components, special arrangement, management practices, etc. The design reveals research needs and extension opportunity. What are the opportunity, extension, and so it whether it is fitting those areas or not. त्यो कुराहरु राख्नु पर्यो. The design reveals the research need and extension also यो areas. Procedure for steps of diagnostic and design. First, pre-diagnostic हुन्छ. Second is the diagnostic हुन्छ. Third is the design and evaluation हुन्छ. The fourth is planning हुन्छ. र implementation हुन्छ. First, pre-design is pre-diagnosis is भनेको that's the planning stage. Identification in this stage, identification of the land use system, that site selection is done at the micro level, macro level, and the delineation and the comparative analysis of existing land use systems, that's the land resources and technology in your बारेमा पनि यसले ख्याल राख्छ. Just the planning गर्छ. Second is diagnosis, depth analysis and the characterization of system functioning are done at a micro scales analysis of the constant sustainability problems, need and potential through the interviews and field observation. Diagnosis stage problem identification basically and focus in this stage. Design and evaluation propose a improvement of the system and specific for the solving problems and intervention candidate technology and the alternative design. So design means the planning is for future potentiality, future improvement को लागि के छ भनेर त्यहाँ डिजाइन र इभ्यालुएसन कुरा छ. त्यो डिजाइनलाई पनि फेरि इभ्यालुएसन गर्छ, फेरि रिभिटेसनहरु गर्ने हुन्छ. The planning phase refers to organization of development and dissemination of the proposed intervention. Project planning as well as research designing are based on the research development extension link and needs. Third is lastly and implementation phase. As a final stage, the implementation has to adjust the project and technology to new information channeled as a feedback from on-farm and non-station trial. Radiogenesis, re-diagnosis, and redesigning of the exercise is done as a necessary flowing interactive procedure. एकदम अन्तर्क्रिया विभिन्न मन्थन विभिन्न खालको डिस्कसनले रिडिजाइनिङ diagnosis पनि गरिन्छ. So this is the picture. Look at this. It's a flow chart of the D&D process. First pre-diagnosis, second diagnosis, and technology design and evaluation, and D&D, and then on the basis of design evaluation on farm research and planning distance on station research, and the plan is after the planning the extension trial is performed. So this is a table. So those stages: pre-diagnosis stage, diagnosis stage, design and evaluation stage, planning stage, and implementation stage. So this is a basic question to answer. What are the basic questions to answer, and what are the key factors to consider? Mode of inquiry. Just a pre-diagnosis definition of the land use system and the site selection. इसको बारेमा question answer के हो? Basic answer question to answer. Focus गर्छ. How does the system work? How is the organized? How does it function to achieve this question? Okay, its objective. These are the some questions. The land use objectives, production shortfalls, sustainability problem, causal factors, constant and intervention points. These are the key factors. And mode of inquiry: the diagnostic interview and direct field observation and troubleshooting in the problems to the problems and subsystems. Or diagnostic and evaluation phase, the questions: how to improve the systems, what is the needed to improve the system performance, what are the key factors in this stage specific for problem solving or performance enhancing intervention, and mode of inquiry in this stage in the interactive design and evaluation of alternatives. What are the alternatives? And the planning stage, what to do, what are the questions, what to do, and develop and disseminate the improvement systems. Research, what are the factors? Research and development needs, extension needs, and mode of inquiry, research, project design, and planning. मा अहिले बढी फोकस गर्छ। इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन स्टेजमा हाउ टु एडजस्ट टु न्यू इन्फर्मेसन, कसरी नयाँ इन्फर्मेसनलाई एडजस्ट गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरूमा राख्छ। फिडब्याक फ्रम द अन स्टेसन रिसर्च, अन फार्म ट्रायल एन्ड स्पेसल स्टडिज, त्यहाँ फिडब्याकहरू लिन्छ, केही कुराहरू उसले सजेसन लिन्छ र यसको मोड अफ इन्क्वायरीमा रिडायग्नोसिस एन्ड रिडिजाइन इन द लाइट अफ द न्यू इन्फर्मेसन एन्ड न्यू इन्फर्मेसनको सिलसिलामा रिडायग्नोसिस गर्छ। दिज आर द सम information on D&D stage. This is the project cycles. First step, identification, what are the problems, and the preparation and appraisal and agreement, then the implementation and monitoring, and that's the evaluation, and the new, on the basis of the evaluation feedback, new project redesign will be enhanced, will be conducted, will be performed. This is the stage, first planning of studies, right? Planning stage ma and identify the process, होइन, त्यसपछि स्पेसिफिक एरिया टु बी कभर, आइडेन्टिफाई कोलैबोरेटिभ इन्स्टिट्युसन एन्ड स्टाफ सिलेक्सन एन्ड एडाप्ट D&D मेथड्स टु रिभ्युज। सेकेन्ड स्टेप्समा रिजनल रिकन्सिलेसन, विभिन्न खालको कन्सिलेसन हामीले सोधपुछ गर्ने लिन्छ। थर्ड स्टेपमा आइडेन्टिफिकेसन एन्ड प्रिलिमिनरी डिस्क्रिप्टिभ अफ ल्यान्ड युज सिस्टम्स। स्टेप 4 मा साइट सिलेक्सन। यसरी प्री डायग्नोसिसमा विभिन्न स्टेप, सब स्टेपहरू पर्छ भने डायग्नोसिसमा डायग्नोस्टिक सर्वे गर्छ एन्ड डायग्नोस्टिक एनालाइसिस गर्छ अनि स्पेसिफिक फर अप्रोप्रिएट इन्टरभेन्सन स्टेपहरू पर्छन् भने अनि टेक्नोलोजी डिजाइन इभ्यालुएसन एन्ड रिडिजाइन स्टेजमा अनि आइडेन्टिफिकेसन अफ क्यान्डिडेट टेक्नोलोजीको आइडेन्टिफिकेसन गर्छ अनि डिटेल टेक्नोलोजी स्पेसिफिकेसनहरू गर्छ र अघि भने जस्तै यस्तै अर्कोमा टेक्नोलोजी डिजाइनका कुराहरू गर्छ। टेक्नोलोजी डिजाइन इभ्यालुएसन एन्ड रिडिजाइन फेजमा। एन्ड D&E फेजमा जस्तै डायग्नोसिस एन्ड इभ्यालुएसन फेजमा एक्स एन्टी इभ्यालुएसन, हामीले केही इभ्यालुएसनको पनि विरुद्धमा हामीले केही कुराहरू कस्तो खालको इभ्यालुएसन छ त्यो कुराहरू हेरिन्छ, रिडिजाइन गर्छ र सस्टेनेबिलिटी क्लासिफिकेसन, सस्टेनेबिलिटी के हुन्छ भन्ने बारेमा हेर्छ। र प्लानिङ फेजमा स्टेट अफ नलेज रिभ्यू एसेसमेन्ट अफ रिसर्च निड त्यो बारेमा हेरिन्छ। मैले अघि भनेको कुरालाई नै यो खालि डिटेलमा मैले राखेको हो। रिसर्च एन्ड एक्सटेन्सन प्लान गर्छ र त्यसपछि इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन फेजमा इम्प्लिमेन्ट्स अफ R&D एक्सटेन्सन एक्टिभिटिज, विभिन्न खालको इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन एक्टिभिटिज भयो भएन यो कुराहरू हेर्छ र रिडिजाइनका कुराहरू, रिडायग्नोसिसका कुराहरू गर्छ। वाइ D&D इज सुपरियर ओभर द अदर टुल्स, यो जस्ट क्वेसन एन्ड यो माथि धेरै फिचरहरू आइसकेको छ, त्यो हुनाले मैले धेरै भनिनँ। इट पोसेस अ बोर्ड अफ डायग्नोस्टिक स्कोप, इट हैज अ मोर इलाबोरेटेड टेक्नोलोजी, इट मे बी अप्लाइड इन द variable skills, it places a greater emphasis on the interactive nature of the diagnostic and design process. So it is a superior than the other tools. Advantage of D&D models, advantage and limitation. Advantage, it provides easy, quick returns, means determine the appropriate activity system intervention for given farming systems. It can be used to identify the land use problem and solution at the community, watershed, and regional levels. It can be used in conjunction with the ICRAF comprised Agroforestry system, inventory, and multi-purpose tree crop database. And यो कुराहरू राख्छ र लिमिटेसन अफ एडमिनी टेन्डेन्सी टु फोकस एग्रोफोरेस्ट्री टेक्नोलोजी ओन्ली, यसले टेक्नोलोजीलाई मात्र बढी फोकस गर्छ। दोस्रो कुरो प्रोसेस, द प्रोसेस मे बी ड्राइभन बाई एक्सटर्नल रिसर्चर, यो प्रोसेसलाई के गर्छ एक्सटर्नल रिसर्चरलाई यसले ड्राइभ गर्छ र एक्सटर्नल रिसर्चलाई बढी चाहिन्छ 5 to 10 खास गरेर। म्याक्रो D&D रिक्वायर्स लार्ज एमाउन्ट अफ सेकेन्डरी डाटा, म्याक्रो एमाउन्टले लार्ज सेकेन्डरी डाटाहरू यसले लिन्छ, त्यो हुनाले केही डिसएडभान्टेज छ। थ्याङ्क यू। अनि अब यो खास गरेर धेरै पर्दैन, तर हाउ टु स्टेप माथि भनेकै स्टेप दोहोरिया छ। How and step of methods tools use, decide whether agroforestry systems are appropriate, यसले त्यो कुराहरूलाई पनि ध्यान गर्छ। डिजाइन सिस्टम्स होइन, select area, trees, shrub or grass to be used if the system is temporary and if the system is permanent. With the both temporary and permanent systems, process of design and analysis in agroforestry systems, use appropriate design is a very important aspect of agroforestry experimentation, like slow growth, long life, age of trees, etc. र follow the basic principle, randomization, replication, local control while planning agroforestry systems. यो अघि भनेकै स्टेपहरू त्यसैभित्र हामीले सब उसमा केही टुल्सहरूमा यसले बढी फोकस गर्छ भन्ने हो। फ्याक्टर्स जो हामी अलिकति उसमा जाउँला, भोलि गरौँला। द्याट्स अल फर टुडे है। यसको दुईटा फ्याक्टर छ, एउटा लिमिटेसन, एउटा लिमिटेड नलेज अन द सब्जेक्ट म्याटर and limiting land holding for agroforestry development and absence of agroforestry policy. Agroforestry policy मा खास गरेर हामी पोलिसीलाई पनि कहिले रिसर्च एन्ड डेभलपमेन्टमा बढी जोड दिएको पाइँदैन. ल्याक अफ एक्सटेन्सन मेटेरियल एन्ड ट्रेडिङ अपर्च्युनिटी, यो ट्रेडिङ र मेटेरियल एक्सटेन्सनमा पनि यसले जोड दिएको पाइँदैन. देयर आर 4 लिमिटिङ फ्याक्टर्स इन R&D इन नेपाल हैन. नलेज सब्जेक्ट म्याटरमा पनि हामीले लिमिटिङ छ हैन. विभिन्न खालको एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको सिस्टम, एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको नलेजहरू, जस्तै युनिभर्सिटीमा पनि एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको पढाइ हुने धेरै कमै छ हैन. अनि लिमिटेड अफ ल्यान्ड होल्डिङ एग्रोफरेस्ट्री डेभलपमेन्ट, एग्रोफरेस्ट्रीको ल्यान्ड पनि स्मल होल्डरहरू धेरै पाइन्छ, त्यो हुनाले त्यो हो. र एग्रोफरेस्ट्री पोलिसीमा पनि 2019 मा एग्रोफरेस्ट्री पोलिसी बनेको पाइन्छ र त्योभन्दा अगाडि पोलिसीहरू पनि बनेको पाइँदैन. एग्रोफरेस्ट्री पोलिसीलाई पनि हामीले बढी फोकस गरेको र फलो गरेको पनि पाइँदैन हैन. एक्सटेन्सन मेटेरियल ट्रेडिङ अपर्च्युनिटी पनि कम छ. द्याट्स अल है. मैले फ्याक्टर सर्ट भने, तपाईँहरूले अलिकति यसलाई हेर्नुहोस् डिटेलमा. मैले भित्रभित्र कुराहरू केही कुराहरू लेखेको छ.